Shedeur Sanders suffers Cleveland Browns setback as veterans have their say on starting QB. Shedeur Sanders looks to be up against it to win the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback job, with veterans on the roster reportedly preferring Joe Flacco to be under center in Week 1. Shedeur Sanders seems to be in a tough spot to secure the starting quarterback position for the Cleveland Browns, as it's been revealed that team veterans favor Joe Flacco to kick off Week 1. The Browns revamped their quarterback lineup this offseason, welcoming back Flacco, who last season played with the Indianapolis Colts after leading Cleveland to the playoffs in 2023. They also brought on board Kenny Pickett through a trade with the Philadelphia Eagles and picked up Sanders and Oregon's Dillon Gabriel in the NFL draft earlier this year. While Deshaun Watson, who recently tied the knot, is still technically on their roster, the former Houston Texans quarterback is not anticipated to play another game in Cleveland following his unfortunate stint with the Browns. Come late July, the Browns will reconvene from their summer hiatus for training camp, where head coach Kevin Stefanski will evaluate the 4 quarterbacks to determine the starter. According to Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com, Flacco has reportedly earned the backing of veterans like all-proved defensive end Myles Garrett for the starting quarterback role. Moreover, Flacco has the added advantage of experience and familiarity with Stefanski's system, something the other 3 can't claim. Cabot also mentioned that the Browns are hoping for a career revival from Pickett, similar to Sam Darnold's transformation, whom they acquired from the Eagles earlier this year. For this to happen, Pickett would need to outperform Darnold and showcase a level of play he has yet to demonstrate in the NFL. Moreover, while Stefanski is a top-notch play caller, the support system that the Minnesota Vikings provided for Darnold last season was exceptional. Darnold, who now plays for the Seattle Seahawks, had the privilege of throwing to the NFL's best wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, while his second receiver. The reality is, it seems almost certain that Flacco will make the team for Week 1, thanks to his experience and familiarity with Stefanski's offense. It appears unlikely that the Browns would keep 4 quarterbacks on their 53-man roster, and it's also doubtful that if they released either Gabriel or Sanders, they would clear waivers so Cleveland could add them to their practice squad. The final 2 quarterback spots on the 53-man roster will be a contest between Pickett, Gabriel, or Sanders. Given that the Browns used a 3rd-round pick on Gabriel, it seems improbable they would waste the top 100 draft selection so soon after drafting the former Oregon quarterback in the spring. This sets the stage for direct competition between Pickett and Sanders for the final spot. Sanders might have the upper hand due to his potential and the possibility of evolving into an NFL starter, while Pickett seems destined to be a career backup. However, if Flacco were to get injured, Stefanski might not feel confident starting Gabriel or Sanders, a situation that could result in Sanders being cut and Pickett securing the final quarterback spot on the roster. The Cleveland skyline shimmered under the July sun, its glass towers casting long shadows across the city, still pulsing with hope after a marginally better-than-average NFL season. For the Cleveland Browns, summer training camp was more than sweat and repetition. It was the crucible, where futures were forged or forgotten. Shedeur Sanders arrived with swagger, shadowed by a surname heavy with legacy. The son of NFL legend and Colorado head coach Deion Primetime Sanders, Shedeur had walked into the Browns' Berea facility with all eyes on him. Fresh from a college career filled with viral highlights and clutch throws, he was expected by many fans, pundits, and Instagram followers to be the Browns' next franchise quarterback. But the NFL isn't a movie, and this wasn't Sanders' script alone. From the start of OTAs, whispers crept through the locker room. Not about his arm talent, that was undeniable, nor his leadership. He carried himself with calm composure rare in rookies. It was something less tangible: timing, fit, and the unshakable traditions of NFL locker room hierarchy. The Browns' veteran players had their own opinions, hardened by seasons of injuries, losing streaks, and the relentless churn of QB after QB. But Nuka had a different part of her life. It was when she reflected. They weren't about to anoint the rookie because his highlight reels lit up social media. Behind closed doors, the defense was especially vocal. "We're not trying to rebuild every season," grumbled Myles Garrett after a joint practice. "You've got to earn the job. This isn't college anymore." That sentiment echoed through the linebacker room, across the O-line unit, and even into the receiver's corner. Shedeur had talent, no one denied that, but veterans like Jacoby Brissett, brought back to stabilize the quarterback room, had already earned scars in this league. The setback came subtly, almost imperceptibly. like a change in wind direction before a storm. During the second week of training camp, Coach Kevin Stefanski announced that the first team reps would be split between Brissett and Deshaun Watson, who had returned from suspension with a chip on his shoulder and a contract too big to bench. Shedeur, meanwhile, was relegated to third-string duties. Reporters swarmed. "Coach, what does this mean for Shedeur's progress?" Stefanski, always the diplomat, answered carefully, "He's doing what we need from a young quarterback. He's learning. It's a process." Behind the scenes, it was clear. The veterans had spoken. In one of those unspoken, often overlooked locker room votes, Shedeur had not yet earned the trust required to lead them. Leadership in the NFL isn't declared. It's absorbed, gradually, through gritted teeth and freezing rain, on 3rd and 12 in the fourth quarter. For Shedeur, July was too early. The dog pound may be hungry, but they weren't ready to feast on a freshman hope. Still, Sanders didn't flinch. After being passed over for first-team reps, he stayed late, throwing to undrafted receivers long after practice ended. He took notes in meetings like a med student before finals. When veterans dismissed him, he didn't pout. When a media member asked if the demotion hurt, he responded with poise. "I've been doubted before. It's not new."